Hello, everybody. So, it is now day 157, and unfortunately, it's been a little bit of another bad day, but probably not in the way you think it is. So, allow me to just explain why. So, it's currently 25 to 6 in the afternoon, and, well, I've literally spent the entire day in bed. Because I got home at 20 past 6 in the morning, and I've literally been in bed ever since. And well, here we are. And bear in mind, I have work at like 8 o'clock, so in about 20 minutes, I'm gonna literally get myself ready for work. I'll set off just before 7, and I'll be literally back in my corner, so to speak, by 8 o'clock for 10 hours, nonetheless. And well, basically 10 hours will drag it. I have a feeling that tonight is going to just drag itself to no end. And to be honest, even my mood at work right now has been very knuckle dragging, sort of speaking. Because here, let me phrase it to you like this: we're not even done yet with these what seems like an endless stew of days at work. By the time I'll actually have a day off coming up on Friday, it means that by the time that will be over, I would have worked 14 days at work with one day off in the middle of it. Now, listen, just so there's no misconception about anything, I understand perfectly well, you know what? The money's got to come from somewhere. Guy's got to work in order to actually, put something on the table. Guess what? I understand that. There's no changing that. I fundamentally understand that. So far, so good. But that's a little excessive. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Forget about putting something on a table. I won't even be able to get home to be able to put something on a table. For all the difference this makes, I may as well just live at work, because, well, as I mentioned before, guys, I don't go anywhere else. I literally, if I didn't go to work, I would not bother getting out of bed at all. And well, I after just saying that, yeah, I think I might have just admitted something a little bit more depressing. So, about 5 years ago, if I literally said I had spent the entire day in bed, I would be tearing my hair out, because 5 years ago, I would have absolutely have just would not have wasted a single moment of my day. And bear in mind, I back in 5 years ago, when the pandemic was on, I was working at the absolute height of it, 67 hours a week. I had one day off, which was a Sunday, and then I would be straight back to work the next day from literally the day would start at like 6:30 in the morning, and it wouldn't officially end until 7 o'clock at night. But what I'm getting out of all of that is that was structured. I knew what was happening, why while it was happening, and the rate of payment was, well, excellent. Now, however, it's not that the pay isn't excellent, but you would have thought with the amount of hours that I do, which could be somewhere in excess to nearly 50 hours a week, you would have thought that I was half wanting it to be structured in such a way where it would be like Monday to Saturday, like 8 hours, give or take. You see, I do quite like my structure, because when things are arranged, you can afford sometimes to reserve some time to do something, or put in time for something, or etc., etc., etc. There's plenty of things that ought, should, and can be done in that amount of time. As things stand right now, yeah, there almost doesn't seem to be any time to think or maneuver, because the second I get home from work, I've got to go straight back out again. Yeah, you probably heard me say that, and I've been under that cosh many times before in the past, where as soon as you leave work, you're straight back there again. And this really is sort of one of those periods where what I would be doing so much work, on the computer and stuff like that. But today, I must admit, I feel completely indifferent to the idea. I don't feel like tearing my hair out about this. I don't feel like crushed at the fact that I've wasted so much time and not been able to do something else. And this was that whole surplus of what I was trying to talk about a few days ago. How I feel like all of this is shutting down my brain, and it doesn't seem normal in the sense that I would never think like this. 5 years ago, I would have rather sooner have defected to reform than said something like that. And yet, it all just feels very. It's a strange period of my life. I feel like I'm entering, not one in which I'm going backwards, but one of which I actually have to possibly sit down and consider exactly where I am at this point in time, what exactly it is I want, and what exactly. Because if what I want now is in any way different than what I wanted 5 years ago, then why have I wanted to make the change? What for? Who is it going to employ and where? Basically, I have to. At some point, I really do have to have a sit down and just have a good hard think. Possibly something I should have been doing when I was in bed, but to be honest, it wasn't exactly the worst thing in the world to have nothing going on up there. And I'm not even sure if that's a great thing to say either. So, yeah, if you think this whole thing just sounds incredibly just strange and a little bit, well, not great, then I don't blame you. And I can't tell if it's just the excess time I spend at work. I can't tell if it's the lackadaisical approach I have whenever anything does not involve work, or even still, if it's down to the fact that I straight up almost don't even have the will or the heart to do anything outside of work. Yeah, if I'm gonna be honest, guys, I will at some point have a sit down and think. But how am I going to do that? Well, I'm just going to have to make time somewhere. Yeah, it may seem this may seem like a bit of a bad time. However, considering everything that happened last year, I can tell you what bad times looked like. And that's at least something to hold on to. The idea that I can tell by personal experience that the argument for going backwards is unanswerable. Certainly, I am not going backwards. So therefore, if things seem bad now, then guess what? They can only get better tomorrow, can't they? Well, let's just see what happens. We'll hold on to that for now.